Hi, my name is Cody Holmes, and this is my assignment for our consultancy trio process. So to start off, our essential question was, as an advanced educational professional, how would you apply data and data analysis to ensure your continuous improvement plan is focused on closing gaps? So a little bit of background information. So as I said, my name is Cody, and I do teach fourth grade reading and language arts. Now in my school, over 78% of students are economically disadvantaged. And with this comes gaps. So this essential question really hit home for me. Now, at my school, we use various assessments for our students, some of which including state assessments, DIBELS, and regular quizzes, assignments, and tests that teachers give in their own classrooms, formative and summative. But our school really focuses on MAP, which is Measures of Academic Progress assessments. And a big part of this is tracking student growth at the levels of where the students are at. And so once you're able to find these levels of where the students are, in theory, you are to use the continuum, which is just a list of provided skills that increase in difficulty, to see what specific skills students need more help with. Now, my desired outcome would be for all teachers to properly use this MAP data to then influence their instruction. Teachers should be able to analyze the data provided, select standards that students need to work on, group students with similar needs into small groups, and then teach those certain skills that those groups of students need. So do you have any questions for me?
Cody, one clarification. When you say all teachers, how many teachers are you referring to? Are you speaking of fourth grade level specifically?
Okay, so at my school, like I said, I teach fourth grade reading, and there are two other fourth grade reading teachers in my building. So when we get together to talk and work with each other, I end up working with those two other teachers and myself.
Okay, thank you.
And Cody, just to clarify, how often do you administer, is it like a diagnostic, an overall idea of where your kids are, individual levels are, and how often do you administer those diagnostics?
Okay, good question. So MAP data starts in like second or third grade, and they continue to take these tests all the way into high school, and it really does track them at their level all the way through up the grades. So we test them the second week of school in the fall to just see where they are at, to see if they've lost any level from the year previously, or if they've increased or stayed the same. We'll also test them in the winter, and of course we're looking for growth. And then we also test them at the end of the year in the spring, where we are definitely looking for growth compared to the fall. So,
great, thank you.
Okay, so
what?
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, that's what I was asking. What help would you like us to offer?
So, what suggestions would you two have for making sure that teachers have time to meet, and in that time they have to meet, making sure they will actually use the MAP data?
Okay, so to paraphrase, you want to make sure that there is time allowed and then there is use of the MAP data.
Yes.
For instruction. Okay. So if I might go first, in my experience, time has been a barrier. So I would suggest scheduled time allowed for that collaboration, whether it's a weekly fourth grade team meeting or bi-weekly. And then whether it's an administrator or a fourth grade team leader, if you have that established, someone who sets the expectations of the meetings and what the outcomes of the meetings will be. For example, a clear vision set. The meetings have a specific purpose of, whether you group within the meeting or whether you talk about the data and then take that back to your classroom and group your students. Then there's an accountability piece that we're going to meet back in 2 weeks and share out with the group what you've done. So then maybe on a Google spreadsheet, maybe that can be a piece of accountability that people are grouping their students on the Google spreadsheet, and that's shared between the team. I can discuss it in the next 2 weeks. It might be an accountability piece that doesn't seem real in your face, real intimidating, but it's still a connectivity piece that everyone is expected to contribute to that sheet, and everyone is addressing those needs based on the data. Is that helpful?
Yes, very good. Thank you. Emma, do you have any suggestions for me?
I do, Cody. So at my school, we use PLC times every other week, and so I'm not sure your school's protocol is for data analysis, but on my fourth grade team, we get together every other week, and it's during the same time that our tier 1 interventionist normally meets with our kids. So, and that's how we schedule that throughout the building. So when we have our PLC time, there's coverage with our students. They're just with the grade level interventionist. We just force that time. So I guess it kind of depends on your school's attitude towards, data and allowing time for that. But if you can, it really does make a difference. And then as far as keeping teachers accountable for using that data and making sure we're making decisions based on it, I would suggest using some sort of a data protocol form, like the one we're creating, Module 17. We use those during our PLC time, and it's a really good way to kind of keep track. And like Brandy mentioned, the accountability piece is there. So teachers just come prepared with what they know they need to bring. And we, ahead of time, kind of have an idea of which data we're going to be discussing for that day. So just making a plan ahead of time and then following that protocol to make sure those decisions can be made, and then checking back in, like Brandy mentioned, the following, 2 weeks. Hopefully that's helpful.
Okay, thank you, Emma. So to clarify, Brandy, what I found most helpful from your advice was making sure the principal or that lead or team teacher sets the expectations of the meeting. For example, today we are looking at map data, and we will be coming up with ways to then use that in your classroom. And then, Brandy, I also liked how you talked about the accountability portion, where the leader would say, okay, so next week you will report back with what you did with that data that we talked about today and how it worked for you. So I feel like that's really helpful. Emma, I appreciated your idea to use that data protocol, like how we worked on in our assignment. I think that would be something that could be very useful to implement that we do not use currently. And I liked your idea of using all adults in the building to help cover, and like when the teachers have to collaborate and meet. That was a good idea. So I think I will take all of those ideas back with me, and I thank you two very much for working with me today.
Very good. You're welcome.